Hello guys, it's Dennis here, and today I've decided to bring you a little snapshot for you with 12 decks, 2 for each faction, that you can play in your grind for reward points, meteor or meteor powder, and maybe even pro rank. But I'm not sure how good they are, how good they can be, because I'm just in rank 4, so I cannot really tell if the deck is capable of reaching pro rank or no. But some of them certainly are pro rank viable because some of my friends are in pro rank, so you will see. So the first deck I'm gonna talk about is my Tribute Bound DJ. We have Portal. As you can see, the Portal is used for our Selectresses. The Portal is used for our Selectresses, the Selectresses and the Portal. I suggest using them in round 3, not in round 1. Then we have Professor. Professor is a really good card that came in this update and really works well with our Witch Hunter Executioners and our Evil Borsodi, because he can guarantee us some coins, and for his provision cost he's a really great card. Royal Decree we have for our consistency. Mainly I use Royal Decree for fishing for Madame Louisa or Savola. Madame Louisa and Savola are our great finisher, but sometimes you may even need Moral Z as your finisher. But I suggest using your coins to feed Moral Z, because it's 3 less coins than Savola, so I am sure you can gather 6 coins and you can use Madame Louisa or Savola. That's it for these 3 cards. Azerjavet is a really great defender with his Scarabs, Jesus, and basically just covers your Slice Selectresses from killing. Also can cover your Witch Hunter Executioners or your Diamutating Hounds, maybe even Evil Borsodi. Then we have Adriano the Ming. He can spawn another Slice Selectress, so a really good card in my opinion. Evil Borsodi is used alongside with the Witch Hunter Executioners to collect our bounties. Dire Mutated Hounds, straight up points every turn, 2 points, must include in my opinion. Ferko the Sculptor, you can fish for your crimes. If you need some bouncy, you can fish for bouncy. If you want to poison something, you can poison something. You get it. Adalbertus Kalkstein. Kalkstein is used to purify your units from bounties or purify defenders. It's straight as hell. Then we have the Coarse Blacksmith. Blacksmiths are used for your coins. When you don't have any ways to spend your coins, you can use your Coarse Blacksmiths. I already talked about these guys. Slender puts bounty on your targets. Then we have Fistek. Fistek is used to poison the high units or the units that you want to get rid of, and also gives you nice 4 coins, so it's 4 for 4 at least, and it can be like you get 8 from the coins and you kill a 12-point unit, so it's a 20 for 8 provisions. Incredible value. Also, Assault is a good removal card for the smaller engines, and also for 4 provisions, so you can fit it in this deck. And then we have the Slice Selectresses, and this is basically it. And let's move on. This is my Mad Charges deck for Northern Realms. This deck uses also Portal. Portal can be used for your Caravan Insurgents, Trident Infantries, and that's it. You maybe can remove the Caravan Insurgents and add the Lyrian Arbalists. Where are they? Here. So you can feed charges to them, but I do prefer to have the Caravan Insurgents because the Caravan Insurgents have a nice synergy with the Trident Infantries. And then we have Werner Roach. Werner Roach I use for additional thinning, and if I need some cards, if I need some more cards, if something's stuck in my deck, I can use Werner Roach for another set of cards, maybe even fish for Priscilla or Neneke. I used to run a sword with him, but people tend to boost him, so I do not really recommend running sword anymore because people just see through you and just straight up know that you're gonna try to use the sword on Vernon Roach. Then we have Donimir of Troy. Donimir of Troy is a really good defender for your squad because you need a defender to defend all your engines, and if he manages to survive, I really recommend you to try to make him survive. He can be a really valuable part of your company. Shani can even rise up to 20 points, so why wouldn't you include her? I included her after I removed the sword, so it's a really nice card. Gives 2 vitality and 1 armor for your squads. Can renew your Redanian archers. Why wouldn't you use it, right? Trishula with formation gives 2 charges. Again, really incredible. For example, if you use it on Visigothsa, he gets boosted by 2 because of your Dandelion. Then you boost your Trident infantries, and that's a lot of points. It's 2 for the boost, 2 for the boost from Visigothsa, 2 from the boost of charges, 2 points from Visigothsa, another 2 points from your Trident, and that's 6 points from 1 card a turn. Really incredible. Then we have Nanake. Nanake is used to keep your units alive and also used with your Trident infantries to ping down your opponents. Again, really incredible play. Dandelion, what can I say about this guy? He's my profile pick and I really love him in this deck. He boosts everything around and his best combo is Visigothsa because Visigothsa gets charged every turn. Every ally turn and every opponent turn. And if you play Vernon Roach, you get 3 charges on Visigothsa and also free time boost from Dandelion. Visigothsa, pretty straightforward. Boosts a lot, you can boost whatever you want, but I do recommend boosting Nathaniel Pastodi or the Trident infantries for immediate damage. Then we have Hubert Reich. He's a really incredible card. I like him even more than Nathaniel Pastodi because you can aim the bloods, you can aim the bleeding, and bleeding goes through armor, so you do not really have to care about armor. If your opponent doesn't have armor, you can use your Priscilla charges again on the boosting units, and you can use the boost on Tridents, but Hubert Reich is also a really nice play when your opponent has armor. Nathaniel Pastodi, talked about him before. You boost him, you get bleeding, another engine for your deck. Anna Stranger, probably one of the best engines in your deck. If you manage to play her beside, in the middle of the Trident infantries, it is an incredible 4-point engine a turn, just for her, and that's really a lot of points. Tamarian Drummers, just like Anna Stranger, work really well with Trident infantries or Nathaniel Pastodi. Reinforced Trebuchets, another freaking engine in your deck. This just doesn't stop. Your opponent has to have thousands of removals for your cards and they just cannot remove every engine. Then we have Arthas Adepts to give charges, Centurion Envoys to give charges, Redanian Archer gains charges on his own. Again, really incredible, one of the best engines for your deck. So basically you want to include him, and this is it for this deck. Let's move on. Our second Northern Realms deck is Babyjosus Calathane Madness. He uses Portal for one of these 4 random Northern Realms cards, which are all incredibly good. And it doesn't really matter which one comes out, you can always get value out of it. But be sure to play your Portal on the melee row because you need Idernir and Mauler to be on the melee row. Then we have Vernon Roach for fishing for a card that you need. Then we have Bloody Baron, also to the Vernon Roach. He maybe uses the Hangate Sword for Vernon Roach to replay him. If you do not feel like having the Hangate Sword, you can get, for example, Shani is a really good replacement for Hangate Sword, or even the Reinhardt Odo, or you might even get crazy and get Prophet Lobby Yoda or Lambert. But I would recommend getting Shani instead of Hangate Sword if you are to remove it. Donimir of Troy. Also, I have jumped over on Bloody Baron. Bloody Baron is used to reset your opponent's card. It's a really strong card and usually you get the full value of 10 provisions out of your Bloody Baron. Then we have Prince and Says, a really good source of removal, and with your Neneke he can be really dangerous because he can hit for a lot of points. Overall a really great card and a must include in this deck. Hangate Sword, talked about it before, Donimir of Troy, covers your engines, that's it. Try to keep it alive if you can. Priscilla to give charges to your Neneke, to your Visigoth, to your Spellweavers, Redanian Archers, or Surgeons or Arbalists. Also a great combo with Dandelion together, because when you give a charge with Priscilla, Dandelion boosts the units, Neneke, a really great combo with your Trident Infantries, and really overall to keep your cards alive. Visigoth really works well with boost mechanic, because he hits for each boosted unit once. Then we have Seal the Tons Reveal, a nice source of removal, also gives us sticks on our Centurion Spellweavers. Then we have Arctis Adepts to give charges, Centurion Spellweavers to hits, Redanian Archers to hits every turn for 1, as long as they have the armor. That's why I recommend running Shani, because you can add the armor back. Then we have the Trident Infantries, work well with Neneke, and other near Maulers, a nice target for your portal and nice 6 points for 4 provisions. Cadwini Surgeons also work well with Tridents and with Visigoth. Arbalest, a really nice target for your charges. This is it for this deck guide, and let's move on.
Hello everyone, my name is BJ and I got a new deck for you guys. This is my take on the Frenny Harmony deck, or I should say Mystic Echo, because they changed it and nowadays we have to call it Mystic Echo instead of Frenny Harmony. So this is my Mystic Echo Harmony deck, guys. It runs the Great Oak, obviously. It's the best SCOIA card that there is. It's a Treant, so it triggers all the Harmony. And we have Water of Buckalon, which is a really good card, and you generally want to play it with Mystic Echo, so you get 4 fledglings. If you get pushed round 2 because you lost round 1, you might want to play it once. In some scenarios you play it twice with leader in round 2, because you need to keep up with the tempo. Probably against Kalanta, when they use leader, you're gonna use leader too. We have Synthesis, which is Dragon, a unique attack for SCOIA, which also triggers the Harmony. Barnabas, really good card. It's a Gnome, also triggers the Harmony. But usually, because we play Percival, which is also a Gnome, it doesn't trigger. But if they get rid of Percival, you will be able to trigger it again. And because we are running Elves, Dwarves and Druids, this is a really good card to fit in your Harmony deck. We have Milan, really good removal, it's an Elf. We have Isengrim's Council, which is a nature card, and they buffed it with recent patch, so I figured I wanted to try it out, see how it goes, and I've been liking it so far. You can play Call of the Forest too. It's a little bit more expensive, but you can pick, right? And this is random. Fav plays a nature card from your deck, Isengrim's Council, Water of Buckalon, or the Dryad Scarus. So this is a really good card to fit in the deck. Weeping Willow has Harmony and is a Treant. It can gain a shield on a melee row or poison an enemy unit, and because we are running the Dryad ranges, you often opt for the poison. We have Ida, which has a Purify. I really like it, because the defenders are really seeing a lot of play on the ladder. So you definitely want to use Ida to purify the defender. What you can also do is move the defender with the lock. So you have a couple answers to the defenders. First of all, really good card. It got recently added into the card pool, and it's such a good card. It's one of my favorite cards, and it's a Gnome, as I mentioned before. It has Harmony too, so every time when you trigger the Harmony, this unit gets boosted by 2, which is really good. So what I usually do is play Water of Buckalon, play Mystic Echo on the Water of Buckalon, and then I play Percival before I play Milva. because that's a lot of value. Milva is a human, so it's also a different tag for the Harmony. It has immunity, just like the Sesentesses, so they are really hard to get rid of. We have the Panthers, also a unique tag because they are beast. I really like the card. I have 2 of them, so you can play one round 1, maybe play the other one in the last round. So yeah, it's a really good card. Dried ranges also have Harmony, so they cannot be missed, and they have, as I said, synergy with the Weeping Willow. Dwarven Chariot, also a new card that got added in the recent expansion. It's a machine, so it's a new tag for Harmony. Really cool card, has synergy with the Miners. The Miners have the Dwarf is a Dwarf, and they have a Harmony tag, so that's really cool. And if you have the Roadie Dwarves on the board, you can ignore the armor. So really cool combination of 2 new cards that can be added into the Harmony deck. Dried Scarce is a Purify. If you play against Syndicate, you can Purify the Bounty or the Poison. So this is more defensive, and Ida is more aggressive Purify. But you can use Ida defensively as well. Depends on the situation. Marauders, pretty good cards. Are not the dwarves, because we're not running many dwarves. It's only 4 dwarves. So really cool card. If you trigger the bonded, you gain more vitality, which is nice. And of course Swordmasters are really good filler. We are playing some elves, Ida, Kieran, Milaan. So sometimes you can reduce the cooldown by 1. So yeah, I really like this deck. I've been playing it a little bit, and I really like it, and hope you guys will like it as well. So enjoy, and see you next time.
Hey guys, Synergy God coming at you here with our first ever video on any of our decks that we've ever created. This one is going to be featuring our Mystic Echo, specifically Dwarf Boys. So without further ado here, let's go through the deck here and figure out what we have that I'm using in order to make you have some wins and some success on ladder. So going through the deck in and of itself here right now, a lot of this stuff you probably have seen on the ladder, either in ranked or on pro ladder so far. In terms of this, you will see things like Great Oak, you will see NILFGAARD Justice, Zoltan Worry, and Munro Brewist. These are the bread and butter gold cards of this deck. These are what make the vast majority of your synergy happen, as well as our Dwarven Defender here. So starting off with the bronze package down here, we do have a few things that can take note. Our NILFGAARD Justice targets in this deck are going to be our Dwarven Mercenaries as well as our Dwarf Berserkers. The reason why we want to have Dwarf Berserkers as a potential NILFGAARD Justice target is that for whatever reason you do not win round 1 in a mirror match versus another Mystic Echo deck, you could potentially use Dwarven Berserkers to much better effect than you can with Dwarven Mercenaries here. So this is why we decided to have 2 Dwarven Berserkers in here. Some of the other cards of keynote in this deck are Fouled in order to pull something like Dryad's Caress, one of our Temperings, or Call of the Forest, and able to get one of our big boys. One thing that's in here that's a little different from most other decks is Land of a Thousand Fables. The reason why we put this in our deck here is to maybe just add a little consistency in order to grab our NILFGAARD Justice card whenever we may need that. Gives us a second opportunity to get those dwarves on the board and start causing some havoc. This is not a high control deck. Our only control cards in this entire deck in and of itself is Zoltan Chevet, the Great Oak, if you get enough units on any given row, and as well as a Dwarven Skirmisher down here to maybe get one of those pesky 3-unit pew-pew pingers. Some other things that we have in here is Zoltan's Company. This is just straight getting dwarves on the board to increase our synergy with things like Mahakam Guard and Zoltan Chevet.
This is my next deck, and this deck is Death and Gwent's Ain't Bats, and it's for monsters. It's a Deathwish deck with the Death Shadow ability that used to be for Unseen Elder. So, we have Living Armor as the first card here for 12 provisions. Living Armor can be used with your where is he? Current here are Faniel, I have no idea how to pronounce that. You get how many points? Oh, 3, and then it gets another 10, so it's basically 13. It's 13 for 8 provisions, really incredible. Again, then you can use the Whispering Hillock on your current tier and gets another 10 points for 8 provisions, which is also incredible. But I'm gonna get to the Whispering Hillock again and to the current tier final again. Then we have Gills. He can survive more in this patch because we have the Cave Troll Defender. So that's why I decided to bring Gills back, and with your Deathwish cards he can be a really valuable card in the late, in the round 3 when you place down your Defender and then you place down your Gills. He can make a lot of points for you. Then we have Deathlove Higher Vampire, which is our biggest source of points, I would say, alongside with the Cavern and our Consume cards, because you can consume Deathlove and you can even make another copy out of the Deathlove with your Whispering Hillock. What I do recommend doing is eating Deathlove twice to use his charges, and then use your the Whispering Hillock on it to get another copy of your Deathlove. So and then you can use your Whispering Hillock on the Deathlove again to get another Deathlove and to consume again with your Babyjosus or Slizzard, or you can throw it with your Cyclops or eat it even with your Endraga Warrior. Then we have the Naglfar. Naglfar is used for finding our cards that we are incapable of finding. Mirona. Mirona is one of the best cards in this deck. I really love her. You can seize an engine, you can seize a 4-point card, and it's a 12-point play, which is really incredible. Then we have the Whispering Hillock. Whispering Hillock, I've talked about it before. You can reuse your cards. You can even reuse your Deathwish cards like Mirona or your Imperial Manticore, but I really like it most on the Deathlove High Vampire or on the current tier for the Living Armor. Then we have Cavern, pretty much straight up consuming. Current tier, you can make another copy of your Deathlove. If you feel like it, you can make another copy of your Living Armor for the 13 points. Wispy's Tribute is used as a tutor for our Parasites or our Whispering Hillock, so make sure you don't break her. Keep one of them at least in your deck when you are gonna be using, when you have your Wispies in your hand. Imperial Manticore, a Deathwish card, kills Lovis units, pretty straightforward. Babyjosus, Slizzards, Cyclops, and the Endraga Warriors are used for consumption, no idea, for eating your units, so you turn on the Deathwish. Not turn on, but prog the Deathwish. Then we have the Deathwish units, Rotfiend, Bridge Troll, Harpyx, and the Foglet. The Foglet, you try to thin him in round 1, if it's possible. And that's it for the Deathwish units, and then we have one little necker, so we get some... what the fuck? Oh, I didn't remember anything. So we get some thriving points. This is it for this deck guide, and let's move on. The next guide is the Alessios Gurney. This deck uses Old Spurtip, which is basically a really great card if you're gonna play Thrive and a High Boys. He procs Thrive on anything and is a good target for your Ozro later on. Also, he's a good unit to make your dominance work. Wygern or Igern or whatever is it's called. It's again a really good card for dominance for your high boy decks, but be careful not to get this card removed, because this card is really vulnerable, because when you remove its armor it just vanishes to your graveyard. This card is used mainly when you try to catch up with somebody when he's a lot of points ahead of you, or with your Cave Troll where it's basically untouchable. Then we have Naglfar. Naglfar is used for consistency and for finding cards that you need. Cave Troll is used to shield your Wygern, for example, used to shield all your other cards, but it's probably mainly the Neckers and Regalarvas, so they don't get killed before they can thrive. Then we have Karakan. Karakan is a really great card in this deck because it can thrive a lot with your high units and is also 8 for 9 immediately, so even if you don't prog him too much, he is 8 for 9, basically a really great value. Then we have Ozreal to consume a Wyvern or our Lord Spirit Tip, or other of the high boys. Another great card for a high boy deck. Goliath, another great card for a high boy deck. And tall boy deck, you know, it is tall boy deck. Then we have the Pugo Boom Breaker. Pugo Boom Breaker is used as a first card in rounds, in my opinion, with your Fruits of Isgith. Wow, what a name. To get a full value on him. I got sold once by Babyjosus that he works better when you play one set of Neckers before, or even a few sets of Neckers, because you get a Thrives on from him and it's more points. But I didn't really do the math, so we just have to believe in Babyjosus. Then we have Parasite. Parasite is a much needed removal in this deck as we do not have much of it. Then it's the Ice Giants. Then it's the Ice Giants without any ability, just 7 for 6 provisions. Great card in my opinion. Then we have the Ghouls to consume the Ice Giants and the Griffins. The Griffins we have here, they are 7 for 8, or 8 for 5, that's what I want to say. They're 8 for 5. They are 8 for 5 points, and it's a really incredible value, and with the Thrives it's even more. It can be up to 1, 2, 3, 4 times 2, it's 8. It can be up to 16 points of play for 5 provisions. Then we have the Kikimor Workers, 7 for 5. People do not usually tend to kill it. Then we have the Valhand Hounds. You need dominance for them, and they are 6 for 5, and it's a sort of removal here. Drowners really work well with the defenders because we do not have the Purify, but we can move the defenders. Then we have the Entrogalarvas, Neckers and Bruxa, and it's basically for our thriving needs. That's it for this deck by Alessio, and let's move on. Our next deck is a net deck from Trinet, and it's the Trinet's Ritual. In the Trinet's Ritual we have Olaf. Olaf is usually used with your Nudikalos for the immediate value, and you can even use some procs or of your where is it? Jesus Christ. Solot Priests to get even more value out of your Olaf. And if you know you are not going to be using the charges of your leader, you can even use some of your charges on your Olaf. The Roll Decree, use it to fish for cards that you need. Then we have your Morkwarg. Morkwarg you can, for example, use to kill the Wyvern or really highly boosted units. Then we have Hjalmar Anchorate. Hjalmar Anchorate can be used with your Tursek Veterans or even your Yuta and Demon, but I do not really recommend using him on Yuta and Demon, as you can bring Yuta and Demon back with their Sigurðar's Rights for the amazing 12 points. Back to the Hjalmar. Hjalmar is used as a damage card, so you can really remove anything from the board because he can damage from whatever value you have in your graveyard, which is really great in my opinion. Sigurðar's Right. Sigurðar's Right is mostly used for your Yuta and Demon. You can use it for your Olaf. You can even use it for your Gremist, or you can even use it for the Champion of Soulblood when you manage to play it before the Sigurðar's Right and it's in your graveyard. Wildcarl is a really great card. You usually use it with your leader to immediately get a value. Surrender is a really good card in this expansion after Iron Judgment because it removes 2 armor and damages for 2. So it's basically a Lacerate on drugs, I would say. And Lacerate is really good. Also, would be even better if it pierced the armor. This pierces the armor to some points, and people tend to stack rows, so it can be up to 18 points of value. Then we have the Yuta and Demon. Yuta and Demon, I really recommend using Yuta and Demon after you have a higher card than her, or even the... I recommend using her if she isn't the highest card, but you get it. Then you have the Nudikalos. Nudikalos is mostly used with the Olaf, or you can use it with what, for example? You can use it even with the Armored Drakkar if you really want to. or you can use it with your third stack veteran, but the most common play is with your Olaf. SKELLIGE, some removal is always needed. Ermion to fish for your Secret Fast Rights or your Freya's Blessings. Then you have Grimace to remove the Defender tech or to remove some bleeding or remove bounties. Then you have third stack veterans. Third stack veterans work just like Grey Swords used to, but without strengthening, just resetting. And they work really great with your Solo Priests, Soulblood Butcher, and with your Terror Crew Plunderer. Then you have the Armored Wreckers. They again work really well with your Soul Priests, Soul Butchers, and your Terror Crew Plunderers. Stunning Blow pierces armor to some points. I mean, does 7 damage if the unit has armor, so it can be up to 6 points for 4 provisions. But it's a really great card. Then you have the Soul Butcher. The Soul Butcher works really well with your cards in your deck. Works well with Ola. Works well with Wildcard. Works well with third stack veteran, Armored Wrecker, and even with your Handmade Protectors, because when you hit some of your units, the Handmade Protectors get boosted. Handmade Protectors are usually placed next to the units you're hitting with your Soulblood Priest, or next to the unit you're going to be hitting with your leader. And then the last card is the Terror Crew Plunderer. The Terror Crew Plunderer is really, again, very useful with your Armored Wrecker, with your third stack veteran, with your Wildcard, and with your Ola. This is it for this deck guide, and let's move on.
Gulo here with a quick deck list for a Skellige list. Now, while a lot of people think Skellige isn't the strongest faction around these days, and truth be told, they may be right, that's not to say that there's nothing to play in Skellige. And I've got a second wind list here that may be just what you're looking for if you want to play that purple faction from the Isles. Starts off with Second Wind, which is that 15 provision Skellige ability, which lets you play a Skellige unit from your graveyard. Resurrection is becoming a much more important part to the Skellige game plan these days, and we've got a lot of important Skellige cards that we'd love to play twice via Second Wind. First off, our friend the Draco Turtle, right? Our 6 strength, 6 armor, 12 provision card that boosts itself by the amount of armor lost whenever it loses its armor. So it's always going to be a 12 for 12 unless it's instantly taken or eliminated. Now, a great combination with Draco Turtle is our friend Iris, who's back with a second card, the Shade form. It's probably going to scare me here in a second, but there it is. But whenever Iris is deployed, she removes a unit's armor and boosts herself by that amount of armor that she takes. So if she takes 6 armor off the Draco Turtle, she's 11 points. Draco Turtle bumps up to 12. That's 17 points. It's not the worst thing in the world. So that's a nice combination there. Draco Turtle, however, can also work with our friend, the Skellige Bronze Staple, the Soulblood Priest. That 5 provision card that takes a point of damage to the card on its right and boosts itself by 2 at the end of every round. So with the Draco Turtle, it's a nice 3-point engine every round if needed. However, our friend the Priest will also combine, not with that, with our friend the Armored Jakar, a new addition in the Iron Judgment set as well, where if that Jakar has no armor, it's going to gain 2 armor, and then it's also going to boost itself by 1 before it gains that armor again. So with the Priest, you're gaining 2 points one turn, 3 points the next turn, and so on and so forth. So you're gaining, it's basically, what, 2.5 points a turn. Not a bad combination. And if you can get 2 Jakars and 2 Priests on the board in the long round 3, don't be surprised to see your score pushing towards triple digits. I've seen it multiple times myself. This deck can certainly put out some points if it's left unchecked. Other important cards in the deck. Well, we've got our Resurrections, our Alchemies with Freya's Blessing, of course, our staple Skellige. We're only playing 1, but the deck builder's showing 2 down here. Our staple Skellige Bronze Revival. We've got Sigrippa's Right, that card that'll summon back any Skellige unit. Now you're summoning, you're not playing, so that's always important to remember. It's not the best to use Sigrippa on a Priest or what have you, but it can certainly bring your turtle or what have you, or a boat back into play. Now, to work with these alchemy cards, we've got Ermion. Ermion's great to thin out one of those alchemy cards that you're looking for in whatever round. And then we've also got Triss Telekinesis, who's going to create, hopefully, one of those bronze alchemy cards from your deck to use an additional time. And one alchemy card we haven't spoken about yet that's pretty damn powerful in this deck is our friend the 5 Provision Mardrome, which is just like a basic 6 for 5, right? Damage up by 3, boost by 9, you're getting 6 points in the end for 5 provisions. Not the worst thing in the world, but let's say you put it on that Drakkar that we already spoke about. You take that 2 points of armor off that you can't see because it's behind my camera. So you're taking 2 points of armor, you're hitting it for 1 point, that goes down to 3, then it boosts itself by 9, so it goes up to 12. However, we also have to remember that Drakkar doesn't have any armor at the end of the turn, so it's going to boost itself up an additional point to 13 and give itself 2 armor again. Now, why is 13 so important? Why isn't 12 good enough? Well, 13 certainly plays and synergizes with one of our other cards that we have in our deck, a staple of a Skellige deck since the very beginning, our friend Yuda Anduman. That 12 power, 8 provision card that only plays for 12 when she's not the highest unit on the board. Well, however, what do you got on the board now? A 13-point Drakkar. So you can easily get Yuda at a 12 to play out for full value, for when you really want to push around, or if you want to help, or if you need another big part to your finisher in round 3. So it's not as hard to get a full power Yuda as you might think within this deck. Other things within this deck, we've obviously got Decree for thinning as well. We've got our new friend Morkbard, a great 5 strength 10 provision card, who's going to damage an enemy unit by 1, and it's going to keep doing it until that unit is damaged. But why is this good, you think? Well, see a unit with a lot of boost? Morkvarg's his friend. How about an Ozral that just ate an Egern out of the graveyard? So now it's a 14. Morkvarg sees that Ozral. Ozral's now a 0 because it's going to hit for every point until that Ozral's damaged. Since it's at 1 strength, he's going to keep hitting it until it's dead. So you've got a nice 19 for 10 there. Not bad, right? Generally, you're going to find at least a boosted unit that's boosted enough in most factions these days where you're at least going to get a 10 for 10 value off Morkvarg. And he's going to be happy about that, and you're going to be happy about that. What else to really talk about in this deck? Well, let's see. We've got two other new additions, some other new additions from the Iron Judgment set. We've got our Covenant of Steel, that Skellige Defender, which is just a 7 for 9 with Defender, but if you hit it once with a Priest, it gets down to 6. It starts gaining a point of armor every round, which allows it to be a nice backup Iris target. If, for example, you did want to play that Turtle with a Priest for whatever reason, you can't get another boat out, let's say, and you want to get a second Priest going on the Turtle, your Covenant of Steel will usually gain a nice 5 or 6 armor over a long round, letting Iris at least hit her 10 provision value. So it's a nice defender to have. It can help protect those Priest and Drakkar rows. And it's not a bad SIG target as well, because you can just summon it out to the row. It doesn't really matter where it is on the row. And it'll protect that entire row for you. Another new addition from Iron Judgment, Raiding Fleet. Great Skellige card at 7 provision. Great card on red coin as well, because you can generally hit whatever your opponent plays out first, hit it for 4 bleeding, and get one of those Drakkars right out of your deck, making it easier to get those engines going quite quicker. Maybe not the best on blue coin, but red coin, when you're going second, beautiful card to have. Other than that, we've got a Gremist, our Purify for those defenders or other statuses that we might like to get rid of. And then we've just got the rest of a bronze package here in Skellige. Stunning Blow, a great new 4-piece special for the faction. Get you that 4 for 4, that Gutting Slash was always going to get you. But you can get up to 6 points of damage on an actual unit. You can get 6 for, because you're going to, with armor, your damage goes up to 7. So if you've got a 6 power unit with 1 point of armor, this will take it out as well. So you can get a nice 6 for 4 on the actual damage when it comes to points. You're actually doing 7 points with the armor, but it's a nice special to have. And with Bloodthirst being much harder to obtain these days, Stunning Blow is probably your 4-piece special call over the Gutting Slash these days. Other than that, we've got a Butcher. Butchers and Terracru Plunderers are basically here to take advantage of your Drakkars when perhaps you don't have a priest available at that moment. And also this other 4P, the Terror Crew Axe Wielder, who's a 4 for 4 because of the 2 strength and damaging the enemy unit by 2 right out of the gate. Then if you take that 2 points of armor that again you can't see because it's behind my camera, you're getting another 2 points of damage there. So synergizes really well with that Terror Crew Plunderer. Makes the Terror Crew Plunderer, she goes up to 6. The Terror Crew Axe Wielder hits for another 2, so you're getting 8 points in that interaction.
Hey guys, Ace of Plays here, and I'm here to show you my Assimilate deck, which is my personal Assimilate creation that I've been working on for months now, and having a moderate amount of success with, and a heck of a lot of fun. So I'm just going to briefly go over this deck really quick, just to show you what it's all about. The main point of the deck is based around turning Shelmar and its range throw ability. You know, boost self by 2 for each allied unit from a different faction. So yeah, that's the main intention of my Assimilate deck, Assimilate, to play our opponent's deck as much as possible and get allied units from usually our opponent's faction, but like any faction besides NILFGAARD, of course, will do. And in NILFGAARD mirror matches, this is just an excellent control tool, high value control tool. So how do we get these allied units from a different faction? We got a muzzle, which allows us to seize one. We got Triss Telekinesis, which will spawn us either Imperial Diplomacy or Experimental Remedy, which will both give us access to units from our opponent's faction. Yennefer's Invocation we can use to place one of our opponent's units on the top of our deck, which we can later play in one of multiple ways. Often this card will just be used as removal and you don't intend on using or playing the card yourself. But sometimes, like for example Great Oak is a really good target for this because he's usually pretty high point value to remove from the board and then even higher to play for yourself. Bribery of course gives us access to any unit from our opponent's deck. Of course, from a random selection. Sometimes it'll low roll, but hopefully your Assimilate triggers will be able to balance out the low amount of points. Other times you just get their best card and it is amazing. We got Spheres, which is also a seize ability. There are a lot of 3 strength units around, like damage engines. So Spheres has a lot of targets, and we also have a few ways to set up our own targets. And yeah, just make sure that this card gets value. It's a pretty high value card if you get its full ability off, and it helps with turning Shelmar. And it's just all around pretty good. Summoning Circle is maybe a dumb inclusion. I just have it in here. You could put like Peter Sarguinleve or something here instead. But it does spawn and play a bronze unit from any faction. And as long as you choose one that's not NILFGAARD, it will trigger turning Shelmar. Of course, often you will get all kinds of dumb stuff with this, but it's funny, and you know that's why I play this deck, to have fun. But you often I'd imagine people would cut this, but it's just I like it. Remedy lets us play a bronze unit from our opponent's graveyard. Imperial Diplomacy lets us create and play a bronze card from their faction. And Duchess's Informant will spawn and play a base copy of a non-spying bronze enemy unit. We also have Artorias Vigo, which is 100% consistent. We only have 3 different bronze units, so it will always get you Duchess's Informant if you need it. And of course, the neat thing, a very neat combo, is the Informant you spawn with Vigo is from outside your starting deck. And once that enters your opponent's graveyard, you can use Experimental Remedy to play it again. And you'll get the Assimilate trigger just from playing it. And then you'll also, of course, get its ability, which also triggers Assimilate. So it's pretty cool. That's been pretty powerful, and I've been enjoying it a whole lot. Now, our Assimilate engines are Imperial Diviner for the purification, take care of defenders, and stuff like that. Slave Hunter used to run either of the 4 provision ones and Portal, but I wanted to try it without Portal and just put in Slave Hunter instead, because it helps to set up spheres with that 2 damage. It helps set up informants in the graveyard, and all around it's a 5 for 5 with Assimilate, so that's good value. Really like that. We got the new Galinis with Assimilate 2, auto include in any Assimilate deck, right? And Artorias Vigo, who is a really fun card. Really fun. And you know, that is basically it for this deck. It's just a fun deck. It's meant to be a more gimmicky deck that you feel really satisfied when you manage to play your opponent's combos and you get insane Assimilate triggers. And a lot of people who have tried this out have let me know that they had a lot of fun with it. So I do highly recommend you try this out. I do have some videos for it on my channel. Not this current version that you're seeing in front of you, but hopefully soon. I can't stay away from this deck too long, so I'll probably make a video on it soon. Thank you for watching this short guide on my Assimilate. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you try this deck out. Be sure to let me know how it works out for you. And until next time, have a good one. Bye.
Hey guys, and welcome to this. Revisiting one of my favourite decks from a few patches ago now. Calvete's old ability. And now what it plays around is the Yennefer of Vengerberg and Kahir combo, which you can play in the one turn with Tactical Decision. So it's a little memey, it's meme adjacent perhaps, but when you pull it off it's really fun. Now apart from that, it's a soldier package. Anyway, let's run through it, shall we? We got Portal here, which is guaranteed to pull your 2 Nausicaa Sergeants. They're the only 2 4 provision units in the deck. Okay, so mulligan those bad boys away if you get them. We got Germain Piquoin. For one thing, he puts 5 bodies on the board, which is great for Yennefer, but he creates great fodder for your 2 slave infantries, making them 7-point plays. Now they're a bit nerfed. I don't know if it was this latest patch or the one before, but it's still a 7-point play on a 1 strength unit. Yennefer, of course, you'll ideally be playing this for its ranged ability, boosting all your guys and your opponent's guys, but with Kahir on the board, you get double the benefit. Okay, we got Ramon Turcanel to play a base copy of a bronze soldier from your hand and give it 2 armor, so you'd probably use that on your slave infantry or your what's he? Daerlin soldiers. We got 2 of them. We got Roach here for an extra body on the board, thinning. You can use it later with a Sire for a 9-point play. It's pretty good. Vrygef, of course, to get you some more of the same copy of soldiers. So you can use this on your Daerlins or perhaps your slave infantries, depending on the situation. Vreemed to boost up all those copies of your soldiers, of course, for a big play. Ulbrich here to bring either Yennefer or Kahir to the top of your deck. You don't want one of them in your hand when you do your final combo play, because you want to be able to use Tactical Decision and play it at the same time. So Ulbrich guarantees that you'll find whatever it is you're missing. 2 Dopplers here, because pretty much all the units here, apart from Roach, I think, are humans. So that's a pretty good proactive play, should get you a lot of points. Got Artifact Compression here, which is just, yeah, pretty versatile, comes in handy. Can I reset? Dazbog Runes, again, could get you something pretty good. Could get you another soldier, like a Daerlin or a slave infantry. We got 1 Ointment here, which since we got a lot of soldiers, it's at minimum 4 for 4, but if one of them's damaged, you can heal it up first and get a bit more value. And we got 2 Justs, 2 Control, and 2 Battle Preparations, since we got a lot of... I've played with it a couple of times, had pretty good success.